So here we are with a long time overdue review of the fLsun SUPERracer Delta 3D printer, which is both an amazing Delta machine printer and it's been well, let's just say it's been exciting. When I first got the machine, I actually got the wrong machine. I got a Q5. I actually ordered a Q5 Pro, QS Pro even, I think to call. Sent back the Q5. I was supposed to get the Pro, but didn't get it. Turns out it was out of stock, so they offered me SR instead. The printer in stock condition worked pretty good. It had an acceleration of 2800 and could easily, I would say pretty much without any special settings or configuration, you could print around 100 millimeters per second. Well, I'd say 80 to 100, yeah. Infill around 150 or so. And it worked pretty okay for the most part for about 2 hours for me. Then I had to replace the original extruder because it wasn't feeding filament properly, and since it has such long bowden, it also did not properly push filament in a good way, which gave me a lot of stringing. So I also noticed that the rails, because this has really linear rails, were, well, 2 of them were sticking, so I had to contact fLsun. They sent out new ones. They sent out a replacement Bowden extruder. Not sure what I put that. And I also had a defective part on my motherboard, so they sent a new motherboard as well, and screen. So after all that, I actually got to printing and actually tuned it pretty nicely to around 7000 acceleration. And I had a pretty good run at around 100 millimeters per second on everything across the board. So if, for example, Prusa Slicer told me a print would take 6 hours, it took more like 3.5, 4, which was pretty nice. But when you get a Delta printer called a SUPERracer and you're told that this is one of the fastest machines on the market, you really want to go with Klipper. So of course I went with Klipper, and when I set up pressure advance, and actually had the same issue when I did linear advance on the Marlin configuration, I had this incredible loud sound from the stepper driving. I'll see if I can actually send a cutaway to the video when I took from that. And the machine was so incredibly loud, and it was actually extruder fighting back and forth, clicking, but it worked. It worked pretty well for 150. It reduced all my stringing I had with the Bowden setup, and it actually worked pretty good, except for the extreme, and I mean extreme amount of sound. It was loud as nothing else. So I actually ended up pushing it to 200, but the extruder got so hot that the filament actually melted in the extruder, got a clog. I also had to replace the fans, so I did with the original housing mod that I use 5015 fans, which I'm also using now. And in the end I came and installed a Sherpa mini extruder. Sorry, I had to run off there for a bit. But the stock SUPERracer comes with a clone volcano, which has this well, if you have a normal hot end heatsink, you know that you basically have a short one like this. This is a volcano clone, so you have it standing up instead. So you have the long nozzle, and as you can see, this is a bit too short to actually be a real volcano, and this is just a piece of aluminum, so was not very good. The original fan ducts, they were okay. You actually get a few quite a few things when you buy it, because you get extra zip ties, you get a brush, an extra complete hotend, you actually get an extra thermistor, a heatbreak cartridge, everything. You get a tube of lube, which is, this is where my gripe actually begins with this, because it's really dumb. You see, if you have linear rails, which this one has 3, 1 for each of the delta axis, you can't just put the grease on the rail. You actually have to put it in the carriage that the arms are riding on. And they have this tiny hole in the top. I can't even see it here. And to access that, you need a grease syringe. So, I'm not quite sure how they thought there. Right, anyhow, I actually replaced the stock extruder, the heated cartridge is still the original one. Thermistor is the original one, but the heat block, I replaced it for a actual volcano block. I actually replaced, because it's actually doing like an Ender 3, which is basically the nozzle sits against the PTFE. Works fine, the couplers are actually really good in these, but I don't like it, so I replaced it for a Bimetal heatbreak, just so I know I can push it to 300 degrees if I have to, and I don't have to be bothered by leakages or burning PTFE. I actually had on my CR10, I did the Luke Hatfield fix, and I actually had, oh no, that's not the one. I actually had my hotend fix burned through at the nozzle, so that was bad. Regardless, I'm running a Sherpa Mini now. I'm running Klipper, and at this configuration, you're actually watching 150 millimeters per second. This is 0.05 layers. Sure, is this 0.1? I'm not sure really the settings. I'm trying to print them all just to test it. I've actually printed a few very good successful things. This is with before Klipper, so I had a lot of stringing, but now I've actually printed some larger pieces, and they are smooth. Artifacts you can see are basically the infill inside, since it's see-through, and they came out fantastic, really good. Some of the best pieces I've actually done. So what you're seeing here is 150 millimeters per second on everything except for interface on my supports. So supports, other walls, inner walls, everything 150 millimeters per second, and I'm running actually 10,000 acceleration per second here, and I'm getting fantastic results. This is actually using pressure advance, which I tuned for this, and actually I made a Pico Raspberry Pi resonance measurer, but my ADXL resonance measurer turned out was broken, so I did a manual one where you print the tower and then just measure off it, and those are the valves I'm using now, and it's running fantastically well. I cannot begin to say how happy I am. I printed the house in PETG, the fan ducts are in PETG. I'm running a Sherpa Mini, which is in SLA carbon fiber nylon, I think it is, and it's fantastic. Barely does any sound. It's incredible. I think usually what I think is that you have to upgrade a printer to actually get a printer to work really good. In this case, if you buy an SR, it actually works very well out of the box. I had a few issues getting started with profiles, but I mean, you have an automatic BL, well, not a BL touch, it's a click probe, but it's an automatic leveling tool that you basically snap on, run the leveling, and you set your offset, and once you've done that, it's going to keep the offset, because since it's a delta, the area is flat, and the delta calibration, which basically is your automatic bed calibration, is just to ensure that the effector plate that the carriage rides on actually is level with your plate at all time. So it's actually a very easy system to get started. And as I said, even in the stock configuration with Marlin, unless you would enable a linear advance, it is actually very quiet, very good, and prints very fast. I think it's a very good printer for the price. It's a shame that the original extruder, my first extruder on this one, crapped out after 40 hours. Then the bearing was basically shot. Can be a bad one, can be a good one. What I put in instead was my under 5 extruder that I had on my under 5. And I mean, it has a few, probably 1,000 hours of printing. It's still working good, but with linear advance and pressure advance, it just crapped out. It just can't handle those speeds, which is understandable. It's asking a lot from it. I'm very happy with this printer. Now that I'm using Klipper and everything, I think it's one of the best printers I have. My CR10S Pro, of course, is my workhorse, the one thing I can always rely on. But this is a really good printer. I've probably printed now around 500-600 hours on it. The configuration I'm running right now, I finished this weekend, but I am just blown away over how well it works. I think that the SUPERracer is a very competent machine. It's going to be very interesting seeing the new machine they're promising now that will have native Klipper that will run up to 400 millimeters per second. That's going to be insane. I can't wait to see it, because I'm pretty sure now I can push this to 200 millimeters a second, maybe even 250. And I could probably, if I get a new ADXL board, so I can do proper resonance measuring, because at those high speeds I think it's very hard to tune that properly by eye and measuring. I think you need that, and I think that this can easily handle 20 to 30k acceleration. And as long as you can melt plastic, you will probably need to get a Rapido hotend or a Dragon high flow. You could probably push it to, well, I'd say up to 400. I could always ask Nitram for a Magnum Mosk that could easily handle up to 600, and I think it would be possible to actually print like that on this Delta configuration, because the linear rails, the carbon fiber arms, it's just a very good machine in my opinion. I've gone from really hating it to think it's a very good machine. I actually would say out of the box I recommend it, and if you like to tinker, it's a fantastic platform. And I think that actually sums it up. Yeah. Thanks for watching this review of the SUPERracer, and I hope it helps some of you make a purchase or not. One thing I will say though, the SUPERracer, the frame is very big compared to the build area. This actually has a smaller build area than Ender 3, Cruise MK3 or an Ender 5 Pro. And that should be taken into consideration, because I could basically, on this here, I could put two Ender 5s on top of each other and it will still be smaller than this. That's something worth keeping into consideration as well, that a Delta printer takes a whole lot of space, just so you keep that in mind. But it's a cool machine, it's a very nice machine, well built. And I have to say, fLsun support has been very good. They sent things from China, so it took 2 weeks to get it, but they have been very good and very cooperative and helped me out really well. So I'm extremely happy with this machine. And the SUPERracer, if you ask me, is a very good machine. Easy to start, very good. I'm happy with it. Thanks for me. I'm gonna try to start posting some more models at Toby's 3D Printing. I've had a lot of customers ask for different things now, so I've mostly been printing display items for people. Not statues, but things they put games in, or controllers and stuff like that. And I've actually purchased 3 models I really want to get working on. One is a Wolverine model, one is the Crow model from The Crow of Eric Draven, and I also have this really awesome Army of the Dead statue of Bruce Campbell, well, Ashley Williams, that I'm actually going to try to start working on now, but I don't have any space left, and I need to find a time between the kids and everything. But I'm going to try to keep you posted. I'm going to try to start painting some more again and do some stuff. So keep an eye out, and I'll start posting more content soon. Thank you all for watching. Bye.